to say this to the women watching. Pay attention. Because y'all love taking these men for child support. And number one, then you want to raise it takes more than money to raise the kid. When he was coming around, he was helping with homework, he was picking the kids up, he was doing everything. Now you put him on child support and he got to work extra. He can't help. So now you're taking away from the bonding time. That's number one. Number two, whatever that court order is in the state of New York, that man doesn't have to do nothing over the court order. No birthdays, no holidays, not Christmas, not back to school, nothing. It's an option for him. But if you talk to anybody in the court system, he does not. It has to be in the court order. That includes summer camp, everything. Because y'all love taking these men, and then it's like, oh, well now, how you not going to help with the birthday party? Because sis, I gave you child support. I gave you child support. Like, we be so gung-ho on child support, and you really went down because your auntie is bitter. Your mama told you to do it. You really wouldn't even think about taking homie for child support. I know somebody who, homie was on child support. They got back together, and he was like, so when you gonna take me on? She was like, I'm not.
Message.
How much you paying child support?
Yeah. I don't pay nothing in child support.
Ooh.
Like, I'm a good dad.
Hold on, but you travel all the time.
Yeah,
They're
but I'm still
on
a
different
good dad.
But you don't pay child support?
Why would I pay child support?
So you take them to school every day, you take them to the doctor's offices, you take them to practices,
I
you
mess
take them
with
to the
women
play
that got
dates?
themselves together.
Okay.
And
Like a true toxic man.
But
you know what it takes physically? I would rather
Yes.
today, where I am today, I'm doing it alone.
Yes.
And it's hard. But you know how easy it is for me to go and work and make the money. I have to have a nanny, right?
Yes.
How often could you have possibly been
That's
there?
true. But so
Were you paying child support then?
I don't pay child support.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
Like, why would I pay child support? I'm not a bum.
Because did you pay for their school?
Of course.
Okay, so
But you talk so fast, you don't let people get their thoughts out.
You just kept saying I don't pay child support.
You're a judge.
No. You kept saying I don't pay child support.
You put people on the.
Okay, so
no,
all these
when I
children
say
you
I pay, no. Let's make sure we're clear. It's very important because I got my fans.
child support, you're thinking,
let me finish my thought, darling.
Oh, 2x.
Thank you. Yeah, make sure. When I say don't pay, that's the communication gap.
Okay.
When you saying, what do I pay? You're thinking child support. I'm not giving anything. I'm saying I take care of my babies.
Okay, what does that look like?
Yeah, it looks like you take care of them.
Can you explain to me what it looks like for you to have to take care of
the school,
kids?
clothes, trips, etc.
Okay, what about they live in the house with their mom
Yes.
24/7, right?
Yes.
They live in their home. So do you
Right.
pay any of those bills in their house?
Yes, I did. They grown now.
We're gonna focus.
Yeah,
18
when they
and
was
down.
when they were kids, yes.
So the 16-year-old not right now. So you
Yes.
still have one that's underage.
Yes, and well taken care of.
What does that look like
It's
right
amazing.
now today?
It's amazing.
What does it look like?
What do you mean what it looks like?
For the 16-year-old right now, what does that look like? How do you take care of him? It's a boy, right?
Visit, we hang, go to games, etc.
School?
Yeah,
Paid
he
for
goes
it?
to school. Yeah, I don't take
got
him
a car?
to school. No, he's 16. No.
So who drives him to school?
His mom.
So you pay for the gas?
No.
Do you pay for her car insurance?
No.
Do you pay for her car bill?
No.
Do you pay for her light bill?
No.
Do you give her money for food?
Of course.
How much?
Whatever she needs.
So every month you don't.
I don't see here.
So she has to ask you for it.
See, here's the thing: the structure with most women, and this is how you're thinking. You're thinking, I need X, Y, and Z, but there's some women on this planet who move a certain way, and when they need something, because if you got your stuff together,
so how about you get your stuff together?
some
too?
women will say, "Baby, I need this," and it's done.
Baby, you are my baby daddy.
No.
We made a mistake, right? Remember?
There you go again. With the energy and your toxic energy.
I'm not toxic.
And the
I
way,
am matter of
let me
factly.
finish. And your energy influences negativity. You don't stay calm.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm giving you my point. When you do all that and the tone of your voice creates that type of energy.
Okay, I'll speak
So
soft.
what I'm saying to you is there's people on this planet that just totally move a different way. You're not child support. You're not a judge. All you can do is say,
Yeah, where you going? Where you going? 1,200 a week now. It's over. Yep. You want to take care of that girl, your little new girlfriend, and her kids. Now, yes. Cause you got me messed up. You got me messed up. I don't care. You taking care of other people's kids. I don't care. Yes. Because I need all that money. I need it all. I need every penny I can get. Yep. Now you can see your kids once a week instead of seeing them all the time.
So
whenever you feel like it.
once a week to every day.
Oh well, at least I'm getting paid. At least I'm getting paid. Did you want to be laid up with some other girl? Yeah, you got me messed up. Now,
You stop doing that.
no. Cause that's what you get. You embarrass me. You embarrass me. You embarrass me. You embarrassing me. I don't care. I don't care. They can look all they want. Oh well.
I can't believe you, dog.
Oh well. Now, yeah, 1,200 a
Alright, you got your money.
week.
Now, can you stop?
Yeah.
Alright.
No, I'm gonna egg this one on. Yep, I'm gonna be buying plenty.
The Georgia Child Support Worksheet has officially changed for the benefit of the non-custodial parent. So now from January 1st, 2026, moving forward, the courts now require a mandatory parenting time deviation for the non-custodial parent to be input into the child support worksheet, which will then reduce the child support obligation pretty significantly depending on the parenting time. So prior to this going into place in Georgia, a parenting time deviation was at the discretion of the judge, and a lot of times did not actually get put into the worksheet unless it was like 50-50 or something like that. However, now moving forward, whatever parenting time that non-custodial parent has gets input into that worksheet. And I am seeing a significant difference in the amount of child support that the non-custodial parent is paying. In fact, in some cases, I have seen it where the custodial parent actually is required to pay a little bit to the non-custodial parent. So this is a huge change for the child support guidelines in Georgia. And if you currently have a Georgia child support case where this was not input into the worksheet, then there's the potential that a modification could be filed. And if that modification is filed, then obviously the child support would be up for consideration, and that could significantly change the child support in your current action. So keep that in mind. I'm not sure what this is going to do in terms of like clogging the courts or causing issues. Obviously, anytime something new is put in place and we're seeing it roll out, we kind of have some growing pains, and there's a lot of things that the judges are going to have to kind of like see how they play out, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
And just kind of looking at them saying what this is about, it's kind of like a sort of like a math over your mood sort of update, right? So if you look at the system, and in a lot of places it seems like it is kind of still like this. For a long time you have men that feel like the system is sort of like a coin toss and it depends on the judge, right? And so this new law that is taking effect is kind of supposed to make things automatic, right? So for one, you have the every night counts sort of rule. So before you had kids for maybe like 100 days in the year. So if your kids stayed over your house for like 100 days in the year, then you still had to pay full support for the child unless the judge felt like giving you consent. Right now, it's supposed to have changed to where every overnight visit is going to automatically lower your payment, right? So the law is now recognizing that if the kid is at your house, you're already paying for food, electricity, entertainment, just like the regular stuff and what you would pay for the child. Now you're going to get a sort of like a credit for that. Like it's supposed to lower your payment, right? Number two, which is, I think, a huge one. You have what you might call a safety net for low earners. So before, if you hit a rough patch or you had a low paying job, child support could still be set so high that you couldn't even afford your own rent. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? But this would be the case for a lot of men and what they would go through, right? So now it's supposed to be based on like a sort of like a mandatory low income table. So if you earn roughly maybe, I think somewhere around 1,500 to 4,000, somewhere in there. I might not be exact, but somewhere in there, a month, if you're earning that somewhere in there a month, the calculator is automatically going to cap your payments so you can still survive and do what you need to do. And it's designed to keep men from falling into the hole of debt that's impossible to climb out of, right? So those are the two big things. And then, of course, you have sort of like a thing for military and disability credits here. So before it was confusing on how VA benefits for the child were going to be handled. But now, if your child gets a check because of your service or disability, that amount is now a direct credit off of your bill, right? So it's kind of like a dollar for dollar amount, which is fantastic. And a lot of fathers are going to be very, very happy about this.
So Georgia just passed a law that goes in effect October 22nd, 2025 at midnight. And with this new child support law, if you are receiving child support and you, one, do not have your own place, meaning if you are not the head of household or the primary residence at that address, you are no longer required by Georgia to receive child support payments through the child support division. If you are a recipient of child support and you have moved more than 2 to 3 times within 1 calendar year, the state of Georgia is deeming you unfit and unstable. If you are paying child support to a person who does not is not the primary residence at that address, if they are receiving child support payment and they are bouncing around from place to place, you are required now by the state of Georgia to report that to child support. Child support report that to DFACS. DFACS automatically open up a 30-day case. And if the person that is receiving child support has no adequate place to stay, meaning not with your mama, not with your daddy, not with your auntie, uncle, grandma, meaning if you are not basically a responsible or an adult, and then if you are not fit, you are not deemed to receive child support, that's what DFACS step in. And if they feel or they deem you are unfit, your children can be taken out of their home. And if the person paying can show that they have adequate housing, stability, they are more likely to get the kids. This go in effect October 22nd, 2025. This is a real law. This is a real bill that has been passed. I'm posting everything pertaining to this whole new law all on my TikTok. So if you need or want to know more, tap in with me. Like I said, this is for Georgia and Georgia only. I don't know about any other state, but in Georgia, if you're receiving child support and you are not the primary residence, if you are receiving food stamps is going to bring your child support payment down. The new laws is coming, and fellas, go file for shared custody.
The child support worksheet in Georgia has officially changed for the benefit of the non-custodial parent. So last week I posted a video regarding this current change, which provides for a required parenting time deviation to be input into the child support worksheet for the non-custodial parent, which can substantially lower that parent's child support obligation. Now I'm getting a lot of questions within the comments, and I think the best way to combat some of those questions is to just do an example worksheet. So what I'm doing is I've made up a scenario for purposes of this video. So this is not for any sort of a case or any particular person. But I'm taking a mom and dad who have 2 children, and I am inputting specific incomes, and I'm going to show you based on the number of days for the parenting time for we'll call dad the non-custodial parent, for his parenting time, what that deviation is. So if I put mom as the primary parent, dad as the non-custodial parent, 2 children, mom's yearly gross income at $60,000, dad's yearly gross income at $100,000, and then I'm not doing any other deviations, and then I'm going to the parenting time, and let's say dad has every other Thursday to Monday and an overnight in the off week, and the parties alternate parenting on the breaks and the holidays, and then in summer they split the summer. So in that scenario, you would go to the parenting time and you would put that adjustment in. That would have dad with 148 parenting days and mom with 217 parenting days. And that essentially reduces his parenting time, reduces his child support obligation by $639. So when I display the worksheet, it shows his prior obligation prior to this new deviation being put in place would have been $1,440 a month to be paid to mom, but instead it has been reduced by that $639 and is now $800 a month to be paid for mom. So that is a pretty huge difference. I mean, $639 a month is pretty significant both ways, no matter how you look at it. Let's say that they make more similar income to each other. So let's put them both at $80,000 gross a year. And still that same parenting time every other Thursday to Monday, overnight in the off week, alternating breaks in summer. Instead, that took the deviation from his original child support would have been $1,152 a month. And instead, based on the parenting time deviation being put, it reduced that by $639 and makes his obligation now $512. So because of this parenting time deviation, which is now required in Georgia, dad's obligation is going from that $1,152 number to $512. That is huge. So this is just an example of it. I hope that this can kind of clear some things up. Obviously, this changes, right, depending on the amount of days the non-custodial parent has, the incomes of the parties, that sort of thing. But we're seeing a huge difference in the worksheet. So I hope this helps.
So one woman in the comments said, I think it's amazing, especially for good fathers out there. Another guy says, the kids are losing out on daddy because he's working 50 hours a week. And somebody responded and said, try 84. Another guy said, try 70 to 80 hours a week. Wow. The guy says, where do you find the worksheet? So yeah, this is this might be a benefit to some of the dads out there.
Listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up. This is very, very, very important. We have changes in Georgia child support laws that have taken effect. So if you have a brother, sister, somebody you know that pays child support, you need to send them this video. What has changed? Well, I can tell you one thing that has not changed. You still are going to have to pay child support. There's no way around it. You have a financial obligation to your children that you have to uphold. However, now the courts have to take into consideration your parenting time. Believe it or not, this whole time that you've been paying child support, courts did not have to consider the fact that when the children are with you, they need things too. You have to feed them, you have to clothe them, you have to provide activities for them, and God forbid you got a teenager. We won't even go down that route. Previously, the judges had the discretion. They can take into consideration some parenting time, give you some deductions on your child support. As of now, January the 1st, 2026, they do not get that discretion. They have to take into consideration the fact that you have parenting time. And during the time that you have the children, you need financial resources to help take care of them too. So what did they do? They looked at this child support calculator. Most of you all are familiar that's how they come up with how much you pay. They look at the gross of the mother, the gross of the father, and say, okay, based on this, it takes this amount to care for a child in Georgia. They had the economists come up with it. Honestly, I don't know what the formula is. And once they came up with it, they divided up by the percentage of each parent. Once they divided it up, now we have a baseline child support number. And your bottom line number depends on what is subtracted off of that baseline. That could be various things, but for this purpose, I only want to talk about parenting time. Now, parenting time is considered and has to be considered in that calculation to get that bottom line. How does it affect you? Because really, that's all you really care about is how does it affect you? It can reduce your child support. So now you may need to modify child support. If you know someone who needs to have just a second look at their child support with this new law, have them give us a call.
And so you have a woman here in the comments talking about the one in Kentucky needs to change 50-50 custody and parenting time. Dad pays insurance and private school tuition and still has to pay child support. And somebody else, a woman here, another woman says, that's my husband's situation as well. She just served him for child support and the court date is this March. Do you mind me asking how much he has to pay? We are so anxious because he has a decent career. Meanwhile, she doesn't and is barely part-time at that. I'm telling you, some of these ladies out here are bums. They are bums. And so having this new law go into effect, and that's why she's saying it needs to change in Kentucky, right? Having this new law go into effect to where you get credit, because a lot of these ladies out here are manipulating the situation. I won't say, well, they are manipulating the child, but manipulating the situation in such a way that it is to their favor instead of just doing it straight up. Hey, this is fair. That's fair. We split the cost. They're trying to keep the kid, get assistance from other places, rely on mom and dad to keep their kid, not work, and then take the child support from her ex, her baby daddy or whatever, and then use on herself. And if you think that's, oh man, how could anybody ever? They do that. A lot of these modern women are lazy. They're bums. And this is why they start doing stuff like this.
Yep, a father doesn't stand a chance with child support in Georgia. This is actually not true. I'm assuming that the father is a non-custodial father for this scenario. However, newsflash, the child support laws have fundamentally changed in the state of Georgia. Those changes go into effect January 1st. Now a father that pays child support or a mother that pays child support is entitled to a parenting time deviation for every night that they have the children overnight. It is a huge sweeping change in child support, and it is going to result in multiple modifications, but also less child support paid by the non-custodial parent.
That guy here says that's only if the custodial parent lets the child go to the non-custodial parent or keeps the child away, right? You have a woman here that says, unfortunately, and you know, I gotta say, I'm impressed by the number of women in these comments that are standing up for the men, right? She says, unfortunately, this will only make bitter baby mamas fight harder to take time away. It should always start at 50-50 unless proven to not be a fit parent. But judges are so old and we need new ones. Exactly. And so from what I'm reading, this new child support law in Georgia is supposed to do that. It's supposed to say, rather than how, based on basically what I read earlier, it's supposed to be how more so the math, right? So if I had 100 days, the children were with me. Why am I still paying you full child support if you didn't have to spend any money? Well, I still had to spend money for rent, this. Yeah, and so did I. So I should get credit if I kept the child 100 days, right? If I keep the child, if it's split 50-50 and I keep the child half a year and you keep the child half a year, then I should only have to pay half of the expenses. That makes sense to me. Oh, well, you know, and then some other stuff, obviously. But like she said, this will likely incentivize these bitter baby mamas to keep the child away, to go hide over here and hide over there. So honestly, maybe another modification to this law might be, well, I mean, I guess it's already in there, right? But a lot of these modern women, well, I would say stiffer penalties, if that's the case, stiffer penalties for a lot of these ladies. And I guess you could have men in the situation too, that would take this law and read it and then say, man, we got to get out of Dodge and just really go on a run. Some of these people they don't think they're doing it, but they will kidnap their child.
Yes, this statement is factually correct, but I think it's important to note, just because a father does not have a legal right to access to his children doesn't mean he doesn't have access to his children. That is something that the mother and the father can agree on. These are instances, these laws are important in situations where the mother and the father cannot agree. And in those instances, if the father wants to have rights and access to his children, then his obligation is to pursue a legitimation action. Now, whether he pays child support informally to the mother or formally through the state, that has nothing to do with his access to his children. That is something that parents agree on all the time with legitimation actions, legitimation orders not being in place, right? An order is needed when people don't agree.
So a woman in the comments said, what if dad is trying to be in the child's life, but mom doesn't want him to because she wants to avoid reducing child support? What can he do, right? Or what can we do? So I'm guessing she's asking on behalf of her husband or her child or her son or whatever it is. Because, you know, this is the type of stuff that women do. And it doesn't really make sense for you to pay, but then not have access. That it essentially sounds like, okay, well, you know, she says you're the child's father, right? So you go ahead and pay because the child, you know, needs to be taken care of. But you have to go through a separate process to get access to the child and really tell us, yes, I am the child's father. Well, if we don't know if I'm the child's father, why am I paying? If we're going to be legitimate and we're going to go through the whole process of being legitimate, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go all the way through. And this is the type of stuff that men are talking about. It's crazy. I do understand it in some aspects, but for me to pay for something that I don't have access to, come on, man.
One of the things that makes me nervous as a family law attorney is where fathers wait too long to secure their parental rights. In Georgia, you have to secure your rights, especially where you have a child with a mother you are not married to. Oftentimes, fathers wait too late. It can complicate your case, and I hate to see great dads go up an uphill battle where it could have been avoided with earlier action. This is why I'm so passionate about what I do. So if you are a father and you're curious about your rights, please give us a call today. Don't wait.
Hey guys, it's Keisha the Law Diva. I'm coming to you because I want to give you guys some facts. If you're a father that wants rights to his kids in Georgia, it's some things that you should know that a lot of people don't know. For instance, in Georgia, if you sign the birth certificate in Georgia, you still are not considered a legal father in Georgia. In order for you to be a legal father in Georgia, you have to have that determined by a judge in the Superior Court of the county that the defendant, the person you're suing, resides. Also in Georgia, you should know that even if you pay child support, that does not give you access to visit your child if that child has not been declared legally yours by a superior court in Georgia. So you can pay child support, and I hear a lot of guys saying, I'm going to go put myself on child support, and they do that prematurely, and then they are still denied access to their child because the mother of the child has the rights if you were not married to the mother when the child was born. So a lot of people put themselves on child support thinking that would give them rights, and they will think that they have rights because they put their name on the birth certificate, and those things in Georgia do not give you legal rights to the child. Another thing that a lot of people think is that visitation and child support are two different things. A lot of them are the same things, but they're really separate things. A lot of mothers think that if the child's father is not paying child support, that they can refuse visits. That is not true. You do not have to have a child support order or be paying child support to visit your child. So if you have these issues where you can't see your child like you want to see your child, you're paying child support and the mom is still denying you access, you signed a birth certificate and she's still denying you access, call Keisha the Law Diva. I'll get you taken care of.
I want to talk about child support. When women get upset and frustrated and they say child support is the bare minimum. I seen something on social media the other day where somebody posted complaining that child support is the bare minimum And at the end of the day, it's not enough to cover all the expenses, and how the primary custodial parent is having to do a lot of things, and not only with money but with their time and taking kids here and there and all this kind of stuff. And they were complaining that a lot of responsibilities on them, and child support is the bare minimum. I want to say something about that, okay? First of all, child support is set by law, okay? The judge can only order a certain amount of child support per that parent's income. I'm gonna say the father, per the father's income, okay? They only legally can take a certain percentage out of his income to support the child. That's just law, okay? They cannot break the man. They can't drain the man. They can't leave the man homeless, okay? That man has to make a living. I'm gonna be honest, when you want full custody of your kids, this is part of it. You're going to be doing the majority of things for that child because you have full custody. So they're going to be with you the majority of the time. Okay? Now, I'm going to say something that is going to be an unpopular opinion, and it might have some people pissed off with me. Okay? I'm going to be honest. A lot of Caucasian women, when they get divorced, a lot of them do joint custody. They do joint custody. They make shared decisions on financial issues and medical decisions and school decisions and things like that. And they share the children. The kids are with them one week and they're with the other parent the next week. And it's a constant rotation year round. That's what a lot of Caucasian women do. Okay? And they split things financially. Okay? A lot of us black women, we don't want to share. We don't want to share the kids. We want full custody. We want them all the time. We want the perks. We want to file them on our taxes. We want to get the perks for the little benefits that some of y'all may get or whatever. That's what we do. Okay? We don't want to share. But then we complain if we receive child support from our children's fathers, and we complain that's not enough. Okay, well, maybe if you would share and do joint custody, then maybe your situation be different. Because this is my thing. I'm going to be honest. Them Caucasian women, they be like, okay, look, you get the kids this time and I get them. Like, they're not going to be bogged down with them kids all the time. They say, look, you know, you get them this time and I get them that time. Now, again, this is not a all in all. This is a general concept. This is generally what I see happens among different races. Okay? And this is common in my practice because I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And so I see a lot of children. And, of course, they're going to bring their parents. And so if a parents have joint custody, for the most part, they both have to attend doctor's appointments. They both have to be there. One parent can't make a decision on the other. I see this a lot in my practice with Caucasian people. I don't see this with African American people. I do not. So, my thing is, when you want full custody, you're going to be getting the majority of things that come with raising a kid. But you cannot complain talking about how child support is the bare minimum. Now, of course, I'm not saying that the father can't be involved. Okay? But when you're saying child support is the bare minimum, it don't cover this, it didn't cover that. To me, it's like you're saying you want more money, okay? Well, at the end of the day, you're going to have to do your part. You're going to have to do your part too, okay? The child support, of course, it's not going to cover all the damn expenses. It's not meant for you to live off of, okay? But you're going to have to do your part. So if you have a job and you make money and you're getting child support, you should be able to take care of the things that the child needs. Now, if you can't, then I think you need to scale back some things. Because some of y'all want to buy y'all kids things that they don't necessarily need and that's super expensive. So you need to scale back a bit, okay? So if you can't afford all this cheerleading shit and all these expensive clothes and all these expensive electronics, and you want to buy these kids, like these 16-year-olds, you want to get them 2026 Challengers and shit. If you can't afford this shit off your income and the child support, then you don't need to do it. you need to scale it back, okay? Because at the end of the day, your job is to make sure the kids have what they need, not necessarily everything they want. And some of the stuff that y'all be buying for these kids is unnecessary. So you can't sit up here and get mad at the child support that you're receiving that is court ordered by the judge, and the man is giving to you and he's not giving you extra all the time. You're mad because your spending habits are not conclusive to what you're getting, okay? And at the end of the day, I don't recommend no woman depend on child support anyway, because it's not guaranteed. That man could lose a job tomorrow. Something can happen. And you still got to take care of your kid, okay? So at the end of the day, to me, it should be a bonus for you to do things that you need to do. It should not be used as a dependency situation to pay your bills. Make it make sense.
And this is what it is. And I see some women once again in the comments. One woman says, thank you. When I speak on this, people say I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't have kids. This is common sense to me because I see this happen all the time. And I see women doing this. Yes, because you have, like another lady said, bitter baby mamas. Bitter baby mamas doing this weird stuff to where they try to manipulate and finagle the system. And then whenever they get to court, the judge asks them about it straight up, or the dad's lawyers ask them about it straight up, or dad asks them about it straight up. Oh, well, Your Honor, I this, and that. And when they get caught dead to rights, they get to crying and snotting and carrying on, not telling the truth and acting silly. Time to cut that crap out. Y'all want the child. Y'all want to keep the child for yourself. But then when you got to do all the work, you want to get on here and cry talking about, oh, I'm going to celebrate myself on Father's Day too because I'm a single parent. I'm a single mom. You ain't a single mom. You won't let the child see the dad.
I'm tired of not being heard. I'm tired of not being seen. I'm tired of being a part of a system that is just oppressing me at every angle. I found out last week that my baby dad owns upwards of $800,000 in assets.
Nice.
His parents, who are very wealthy people, his dad's a retired doctor who had a private practice,
Nice.
created a trust for him and his sister, and gave them a bunch of properties, both commercial and residential, gave them land and a trust fund itself with money in it that collects interest and dividends that he can take money out of if he needs it. Okay. And this man is on government assistance. This man gets food stamps every month. This man is a strong, built, over 6 foot tall white man who has the capability to work, but chooses to only mow grass during the summers. This fucking man is coming after me to pay him child support, and the system is going to help him do that.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that a system is set up where a man is taking advantage of free government assistance, and it's a possibility that him being on that government assistance is helping him to get the child support? And then he has a trust set up, meaning that he had assets and he has resources, but he chooses to live his soft guy era, right? And then on top of that, he's 6 feet, he chilling, he takes the winters off, he just grinds in the summer, he's in the gym all day making sure that he get himself together, and the system is set up against you when you crying? No way. Now, let me be very clear, and I always like to give credit to the content creator, so that link will be down in the description regardless of whether I agree or not. But let me just be clear. I am in no way, shape, or form a fan of anybody, man, woman, or whatever, that is a capable adult that is taking care of business and has the ability to be able to go out and get a job, earn for themselves, be on government assistance, because that is our dollars, that is taxpayer dollars, and it should not be taken advantage of. But that's not the point of the video, right? That goes without saying. The point of the video is that he is taking her to the cleaners and forcing her to pay child support. And apparently he has custody of the child, because how can you get child support if you don't have custody of the child? So apparently the judge and the court system deemed him the most fit parent for whatever reason, because I'm sure there's some details left out, and we're going to go ahead and get to the rest of the video. And you feeling bad about it. So wait a minute.
First of all, oppressing me at every angle usually means, for modern women, they not doing what I want them to. They not acting like I want them to act. they not allowing me to get in here and cry and snot and roll all over the floor, that usually works, but this time it's not.
Accuse a man of being your baby's daddy, it's called parentage fraud, and it's
Wow.
no joke.
My husband got a paternity test on our 5-year-old daughter and it came back negative, and now he wants a divorce.
If you falsely
Yeah.
Those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because, you know, when people do paternity tests, 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father. And if they start testing everybody, that number
What? Well, I guess that's probably selection bias, to be fair.
can only go up, not down. They're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud.
This needs to go nationwide, but at least it's the first step.
True.
Progress, not perfection.
Sure.
But in the meantime, I advise any male that I know to get yourself a DNA kit and swab that child's mouth, because
It's weird to me that they don't just do this as a default.
you'd be surprised just how many of those kids belong to another man.
Problem with child support is that it's calculated based on how much money both of the parents make.
Yeah.
The more money dad makes, the more he pays. But the more money that mom makes, the less she gets. This absolutely incentivizes people not to be successful, which is not making the world a better place. It's making the world a worse place.
That is stupid, by the way. Yeah. I'm okay with a man having to pay. Like, I'm a child support supporter. Whenever you have a kid, like, you shouldn't look at what's best for the kid, or sorry, what's best for the mom or what's best for the dad. You should look at what's best for the kid. And I think that a society that doesn't put the best interests of its children and young people first is a society that's doomed to die. Everybody knows, like, custody court is, like, rigged in favor of women. I think that in general, like, we've had women being caretakers of children and men being breadwinners for families for as long as we've had bread. Okay? So there's definitely like a natural order of things, and I think the natural order of things should not be disrupted. So I think that like there's a trend, but like, and that's okay to like have a little bit of like maybe like a 55-45, a 60-40, but this is like a 95-5 where you have like these crackhead crazy moms that are sitting around, doing their eyebrows, in like some fucking spa every month, that are spending all the child support money, and the kids sitting there on assisted food for fucking school. I mean, this is a problem.
And it sounds like to me the reasoning behind the more she pays, the more she makes, the less she pays. I would assume the reasoning behind that would be, well, if she's the default custodial parent, then the child's going to be with her. So it would make sense that she pays less. But if she's paying child support, then that might mean the child is with the dad. So how is it that the dad has a child? How do you pay less? What is that? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay, so I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across this video of this woman who was, I guess, at her child support hearing just to see how much child support she was going to be awarded. Now,
Would you be in agreement for child support to be set at $307?
For all three?
Yes, ma'am.
Like 100 a piece?
$307 would be the child support amount that would be ordered. Is that what we're asking? Are you in agreement or disagreement with that amount?
I'm saying, is that like 300 per child?
No, it's three
total?
Yes.
No.
Okay. What is the why are you in disagreement?
They're boys. They're in sports. They're constantly eating. They're constantly growing. Everything is so expensive. One is about to graduate soon, and he's getting ready to do like all his other school activities. I just don't agree with $300 at all.
from my gathering, she had 3 sons, right? And she was awarded $307 for all. Now, granted, I do agree that's low for 3 boys, but we got to look at certain factors. One, you're going to notice that she complained about the amount, which I think most women in that circumstance would, look at that amount like what? But again, I don't think women have a realistic view of what child support is for. Child support is literally assistance. It's help. You almost want to look at it as like government assistance. Please let me know what form of government assistance fully covers whatever it's supposed to cover. It helps, right? It's more than what you had. And that's what women fail to realize. So if she was only awarded $307 a month for all 3 kids, then that shows you his income could only afford that amount, okay? Child support is supposed to be 50-50. Okay, so she's looking at it $100 a child, but no, if she were to add her cut of $307, that then bumps up to $200 per child. But women typically don't want to factor in their cut because they have primary custody or full custody. But that was a choice that you made, right? Typically, women want primary or full custody. If you have to share that custody, that will bring down or potentially bring down your child support. But most women want to be able to get as much as they can get, so they go for full custody. But you now have to account for that child being with you full time, which means your bills are going to slightly increase to accommodate that extra person that is now living with you. Okay. So, but the father doesn't owe you for that. When you decided to have your child, you understood that however you move was going to incorporate another human being. He is not responsible for the fact that you also decided to have a child, and that child is now going to increase bills in your household. He is there to provide assistance, but his child support is not going to cover everything, especially if what y'all are trying to cover is based on what you feel the child needs, right? Child support is supposed to cover necessities. Here's the other thing. Whenever the child is with the father, y'all are not, sending the dad money to contribute to his bills increasing, but y'all are expecting child support to include the increase in bills at the mom's home. When I checked, as functioning adults and as healthy and functioning parents, you're supposed to make sure your kids are good regardless of what financial aid or government assistance you're getting. Child support is government assistance. That means you're not doing it by yourself. So if you expected a higher child support payment, then you should have had sex with somebody that made more money. Okay? Period. And a lot of y'all can't even get the men that make the type of money, which is why you're upset at what you're awarded. Okay? So again, child support is literally for assistance. Like, I can empathize with her, it's not a lot of money for 3 growing boys, but again, be grateful because some women are not even getting that. The other thing that's typically not factored in with child support is typically men who are on child support are now responsible for medical, right? So typically the child goes on the father's medical insurance. That's an expense that the mom doesn't have to cover. So while you're thinking that, child support should be higher, your child is also getting other benefits that's being provided by the father. Typically, that's medical insurance, okay? Also, you have to take into consideration if the amount is that low, how often does he see the child? More time that the child is with the father, that should drop the child support as well because he's going to have almost equal expenses like the mother.
She knew exactly what was being said. Once again, a lot of these modern women are looking for a come up. I'm thinking about Brittany Renner. She's talking about, I want PJ Washington to pay. I'm already getting paid $5,500 a month. $5,500 a month is coming to my child. I think it should be at least $35,000. Are you crazy? What do you need? Oh, to help him to maintain the standard of living that, his dad has. It would be for him to maintain the standard of living that his dad has, not you. The money's not for you. But what they do is they take that money and they be going and getting their nails done, living lavish off of the man's back. You need to go and get your own job.